Wouldn't it be nice if you could get that real taste of summer all year round? If you could dig into some lobster rolls, fried clams, barbecue ribs, and fried chicken, just like you were at the beach? Well, I think I know just the place.
I'm Jasper White. I'm the chef and partner in Summer Shack. I started Summer Shack 13 years ago in Cambridge, and at the time my children were small, and I always felt a disconnect when we were going out as a family. I felt like we always had to compromise, whether we go to a place that the kids like or we'd go to a place where the food was great. And so I tried to create an experience that I wanted to have myself. When people walk into Summer Shack, the first thing they see is a lobster tank. So I think that sends a subliminal or not so subliminal message to people that it's a seafood place. Then they see paper on the tables. They see a lot of people smiling. This is our newest Summer Shack in Dedham, Mass. We're right in front of Legacy Place. We think a very cozy, warm place. It came with a fireplace, so it's the only Summer Shack that has a fireplace. At Summer Shack, we have a pretty large menu, but here's 5 dishes that you must try. My pan-roasted lobster. This is made with bourbon, white wine, chervil, chives, and just a little bit of butter, or maybe a lot of butter. I started making this dish in 1984. I opened my first restaurant down on the waterfront called Jasper's, and my next door neighbor was a restaurant called Sally Ling's. And I was very good friends with the chef there, C.K. Sao. I watched him make the lobster ginger scallions, and I loved that dish in his restaurant. And so I took that technique of cutting the lobster into 6 pieces, searing the lobster in the shell, and I took that idea of the Chinese lobster and I added Western flavors to it. I've been making that dish for going on 30 years now. It was Julia Child's favorite. Every time she came to Jasper, she ordered the pan-roasted lobster. The fried chicken at Summer Shack, I started making that for my staff Christmas parties. And everybody who came to my parties was like, that's the best fried chicken ever. And when I opened Summer Shack, I put that on the menu. There's no gimmicks to it. It's just really, really good. Here in Dedham, we have expanded the menu to include barbecue. We have a smoker out in front of the restaurant, and we're doing slow-smoked, authentic American barbecued ribs. Our ribs are St. Louis style, big pork spare ribs. We slow smoke them for 3 to 6 hours. I'm not faking it here. This is the real deal. I think one of the items that really defines Summer Shack is our raw bar. I happen to think oysters are the perfect starter for any meal. It's the only true appetizer. So when you eat 6 oysters, you're more hungry afterward than you were before you started. And I take a lot of pride in what we serve in the raw bar. We have our own brand of oyster called the South Bay Blonde. I personally love the Cape Cod oysters. Here's the thing about Cape Cod oysters. I can pick them up in the morning, right from the growers, and I can put them on your plate for dinner. One of the dishes that we feature and we sell a lot of is the New England Clambake. That consists of chicken, lobster, a good pile of mussels, clams, potatoes, corn on the cob, hard-boiled egg, and chorizo sausage. A lot of people ask me, why is there an egg inside this dish? And I learned how to make a real clam bake up in Maine. And when you make a real clam bake in the sand, once you pull the tarp up, it's not like a frying pan. You can't put it back on the stove. You're done. The protein in the egg takes almost exactly the same amount of time to cook as the protein in the lobster. Before you pull the tarp off, you reach in and you grab that egg and you crack it open. And if it's hard-boiled, it means your lobsters are done. I look at food as more than just something that we throw on a plate and try to make money off of. It's something that affects all of us. Everything that goes on your plate came from a farm, it came from somebody's hands picking something out of the ground. Fishermen that risk their lives in the winter to pull seafood out of the ocean. Hard-working cooks in the kitchen, and it's all done with love.
The newest Summer Shack is at 850 Providence Highway, just outside Legacy Place in Dedham, with additional locations in Cambridge, Boston, and Mohegan Sun. Online at summershackrestaurant.com.